How often do you find yourself weighed down by circumstances that seem completely out of your hands? The noise of the world, the actions of others, even the unpredictability of life itself. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But what if I told you that there's a way to rise above that chaos, not by changing the world around you, but by shifting how you engage with it? This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes in. As Epictetus once said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. That single idea is the foundation of what we're exploring today, the Stoic practice of focusing on what's within your control and how it can transform the way you live. In this video, we'll dive into timeless principles like cognitive detachment, how to let go of what you can't change, and resilience, the inner strength that grows when you stop fighting the uncontrollable. We'll also talk about presence, the art of staying grounded in the here and now, and how these ideas can be applied to the challenges of modern life. Whether it's navigating stress at work, dealing with difficult relationships, or simply finding peace in a world that feels anything but peaceful, the Stoic approach offers a path to empowerment. So, let's begin this journey together and uncover how focusing on the controllables can help you reclaim your sense of calm, clarity, and control. Stoicism teaches us that not everything in life is within our power. In fact, much of what happens around us, other people's actions, the weather, traffic, or even the outcome of a project at work, falls outside our control. But here's the liberating truth: while we can't dictate these external events, we can control how we respond to them. This is the essence of what Stoics call the Dichotomy of Control, a simple yet profound idea that divides life into two categories: what's up to us and what isn't. At its core, the dichotomy of control is about understanding where our power truly lies. Our thoughts, our choices, our attitudes, these are entirely within our grasp. But the opinions of others, the past, or even the future, these are areas where our influence is limited, no matter how much we might wish otherwise. As Epictetus put it, some things are in our control and others are not. If you try to control the uncontrollable, you'll only set yourself up for frustration and disappointment. So, how does this principle help us in real life? Think about a common source of stress: work. You might pour your energy into a project only to have it criticized or overlooked. It's easy to feel defeated, but the Stoic approach shifts the focus. Instead of fixating on the outcome, something outside your control, you can concentrate on the effort you put in, the skills you developed, or the lessons you learned. These are the things you can influence, and by directing your attention here, you reclaim your sense of agency. This isn't just theoretical, it's a mindset that can transform how you approach challenges. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free up mental and emotional energy. Anxiety diminishes because you're no longer fighting battles you can't win. Instead, you channel your energy into what truly matters, your own actions and decisions. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life are you trying to control something that's ultimately beyond your power? Maybe it's a relationship, a financial situation, or even a global event. Now consider what is within your control: your attitude, your effort, your response. By shifting your focus to these areas, you not only reduce stress but also open the door to greater resilience and peace of mind. This is the power of the dichotomy of control. It's not about giving up or being passive. It's about redirecting your energy to where it can make the most impact. And when you do, you'll find that life feels a little lighter, a little more manageable, and a lot more within your grasp. Have you ever felt consumed by anger or frustration over something you couldn't change? Maybe it was a harsh comment from a coworker, a sudden change in plans, or even something as trivial as bad traffic. These moments can leave us feeling powerless, as if our emotions are being yanked around by forces beyond our control. But what if there was a way to step back, to observe these events without letting them dictate how you feel? This is where the Stoic practice of cognitive detachment comes in, a powerful tool for gaining clarity and emotional resilience in the face of life's unpredictability. At its heart, cognitive detachment is about creating a mental space between what happens and how you respond. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending things don't matter. Instead, it's about recognizing that while you can't always control what happens, you can control how you interpret and react to it. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's most famous practitioners, put it this way: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Think of it like this: imagine you're standing on the shore, watching waves crash against the rocks. The waves are uncontrollable, but you're not in the water, you're observing them from a distance. Cognitive detachment works the same way. By stepping back mentally, you create space to assess situations more objectively, free from the immediate pull of emotion. This doesn't mean you become indifferent. It means you gain the clarity to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Let's take a practical example: criticism. Say someone critiques your work and your first instinct is to feel defensive or upset. Cognitive detachment invites you to pause and ask yourself, is this feedback true? Is it useful? Can I learn from it? By shifting your focus from the emotional sting to the potential for growth, you turn a challenging moment into an opportunity for self-improvement. This practice isn't just theoretical, it's a skill you can develop over time. Start small. The next time you feel a strong emotional reaction bubbling up, take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this truly deserve the energy I'm giving it? Am I reacting to the event itself or to my interpretation of it? These simple questions can help you create that mental distance, allowing you to respond with intention rather than react out of habit. Now take a moment to reflect. Can you think of a recent situation where you felt overwhelmed by emotion? How might cognitive detachment have helped you approach it differently? By practicing this Stoic principle, you're not just managing your emotions, you're building a foundation for lasting resilience and inner peace. Cognitive detachment isn't about disconnecting from life, it's about engaging with it more skillfully. When you stop being ruled by every external event, you reclaim your power to choose how you show up in the world, and that's where true freedom lies. Stoics believe that our perception shapes our reality. It's not the events themselves that define our experience, but how we choose to see them. This idea is at the heart of Stoic philosophy: the power to reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. When life throws obstacles in your path, it's easy to feel defeated or overwhelmed. But what if those obstacles weren't roadblocks at all? What if they were stepping stones designed to help you build resilience, wisdom, and strength? Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, put it this way: difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. In other words, adversity isn't something to avoid, it's something to embrace. It's through struggle that we grow, and it's through hardship that we discover what we're truly capable of. This isn't just a comforting thought, it's a practical tool for navigating life's challenges with grace and purpose. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who faced countless trials during his reign: political unrest, wars, even personal loss. Yet, he saw these challenges not as burdens, but as opportunities to practice virtue and cultivate inner strength. In his writings, he often reflected on the value of adversity, reminding himself that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This mindset allowed him to lead with clarity and compassion, even in the face of immense pressure. So, how can we apply this Stoic wisdom to our own lives? Let's say you're dealing with a difficult coworker. Instead of seeing their behavior as a source of frustration, you might reframe it as a chance to practice patience, empathy, or assertiveness. Or perhaps you're facing a setback at work, a project that didn't go as planned. Rather than dwelling on the disappointment, you could view it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve for the future. The key is to shift your focus from what's happening to you to what's happening for you. Every challenge carries a lesson, and every obstacle is an invitation to grow. This doesn't mean you have to pretend everything is fine when it's not. It simply means choosing to see the potential for growth, even in the midst of difficulty. Take a moment to reflect. What's a challenge you're currently facing? How might you reframe it as an opportunity? Maybe it's a chance to develop a new skill, to strengthen a relationship, or to deepen your understanding of yourself. By changing your perspective, you don't just change how you feel about the challenge, you change how you engage with it, and that shift can make all the difference. This is the power of perception. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending life is perfect. It's about recognizing that within every challenge lies the seed of opportunity. When you start to see obstacles as teachers, you unlock a new way of living, one that's rooted in resilience, growth, and a deep sense of purpose. What if acceptance, not resistance, was the key to inner peace? At first glance, the idea of accepting what we can't change might seem passive or even defeatist. But in reality, it's one of the most powerful tools we have for building resilience. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from our resistance to them. As Epictetus once said, what upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things. In other words, it's not the rain that frustrates us, it's our insistence that it shouldn't be raining. This is where acceptance comes in. It's not about giving up or resigning yourself to life's hardships. Instead, it's about recognizing what's beyond your control and choosing to meet it with openness rather than resistance. When you stop fighting reality, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional turmoil. Acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with everything that happens. It simply means you stop wasting energy on what you can't change. Think about a job loss, for example. Losing a job can feel devastating. It's a blow to your identity, your security, and your plans. But while you can't control the fact that it happened, you can control how you respond to it. Maybe it's an opportunity to explore a new career path, to develop skills you've been neglecting, or to spend more time with loved ones. By accepting the situation, you shift your focus from what's been lost to what's still possible. This principle applies to smaller, everyday challenges too. Maybe it's a delayed flight, a cancelled plan, or a disagreement with a friend. In these moments, resistance only amplifies your frustration. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows you to move forward with clarity and calm. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing not to let the uncontrollable dictate your emotional state. So, how do you practice acceptance in a way that builds resilience? Start by identifying what you're resisting. Is it a situation at work, a relationship dynamic, or even a personal flaw? Once you've named it, ask yourself, can I change this? If the answer is no, then the next step is to shift your focus to what you can control. Your response, your attitude, your next move. Take a moment to reflect. What's one thing in your life that you're struggling to accept? How might your perspective change if you stopped resisting it and instead met it with openness? By embracing acceptance, you don't just reduce suffering, you create space for growth, resilience, and a deeper sense of peace. This is the transformative power of Stoic acceptance. It's not about surrendering to life's challenges. It's about rising above them by choosing where to invest your energy. And when you do, you'll find that life's obstacles become less like barriers and more like stepping stones on the path to a stronger, more grounded you. Stoicism teaches us that the present moment is all we truly have. While the past is behind us and the future remains uncertain, the here and now is where life unfolds. This idea isn't just philosophical, it's a practical tool for reducing anxiety, finding clarity, and living with intention. The Stoics believed that by anchoring ourselves in the present, we free ourselves from the weight of regret and the uncertainty of what's to come. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." It's a reminder that the present is the only space where we can truly act, think, and be. Think about it. How often do we let our minds wander to what might happen tomorrow or dwell on mistakes we made yesterday? These mental habits can leave us feeling scattered, anxious, and disconnected from the life we're actually living. But when we focus on the present, we reclaim our attention and energy. It's not about ignoring the past or future entirely. It's about recognizing that they don't have the power to define this moment. Let's take something as simple as eating a meal. How often do we rush through it, distracted by our phones or lost in thought? Now, imagine savoring each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and aromas. This is mindfulness in action, a way of bringing Stoic presence into everyday life. By fully engaging in the activity at hand, you not only enjoy it more deeply, but also cultivate a sense of calm and focus that carries over into other areas of your life. This practice isn't limited to meals, of course. It could be as simple as listening intently during a conversation, feeling the ground beneath your feet as you walk, or even noticing the rhythm of your breath. These small acts of presence have a ripple effect, helping you feel more grounded and less overwhelmed by the chaos of life. So, what's one activity today where you can practice being fully present? Maybe it's a task at work, a moment with a loved one, or even a few minutes of quiet reflection. The key is to bring your full attention to it, letting go of distractions and judgments. Notice how it feels to be truly engaged in the moment, even if just for a short while. The art of presence isn't about achieving perfection or eliminating all distractions. It's about gently guiding your focus back to the present whenever it wanders. Over time, this practice builds a sense of inner stability, helping you navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease. By embracing the present, you're not just living more fully, you're tapping into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, one moment at a time. What does it mean to live virtuously in a chaotic world? For the Stoics, virtue wasn't just a lofty ideal, it was the foundation of a meaningful life. They believed that true control isn't about dominating external circumstances, but about aligning your actions with timeless principles like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues aren't just abstract concepts, they're practical tools for navigating life's challenges with integrity and purpose. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, once wrote, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason." In other words, living virtuously means making choices that are guided by clarity, fairness, and a deep understanding of what truly matters. It's about recognizing that while we can't control everything around us, we can control how we show up in the world. And when we act with virtue, we cultivate a sense of inner peace that no external event can shake. Let's break this down with a practical example. Imagine you're in a difficult conversation with a colleague who's been undermining your work. It's tempting to respond with anger or defensiveness, but the Stoic approach invites you to pause and consider, what would it look like to act with courage and justice in this moment? Courage might mean speaking up for yourself with calm confidence, while justice could involve seeking mutual understanding rather than simply winning the argument. This is the essence of Stoic virtue. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to respond in a way that aligns with your deepest values, even when it's hard. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you make a choice guided by virtue, you strengthen your inner resilience. You become less swayed by external pressures and more anchored in your own sense of purpose. But how do we apply this in everyday life? Let's say you're faced with a moral dilemma at work. a situation where cutting corners might bring short-term gains but compromise your integrity. The Stoic approach would encourage you to weigh the options not just in terms of outcomes but in terms of character. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? By focusing on these questions, you shift the focus from what's expedient to what's virtuous. Now, take a moment to reflect. Where in your life could you bring more virtue into your actions? Maybe it's demonstrating patience with a loved one, practicing honesty in a challenging situation, or showing courage in the face of uncertainty. Each of these choices is an opportunity to align your life with Stoic principles, not just for the sake of others, but for your own growth and peace of mind. Living virtuously in a chaotic world isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about recognizing that every decision, no matter how small, is a chance to practice wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. And when you do, you'll find that the chaos around you feels a little less overwhelming because you're rooted in something deeper and more enduring, your own commitment to living well. Stoics believe that seeking approval from others is a path to dissatisfaction. Why? Because when you tie your self-worth to external validation, you hand over control of your happiness to people and circumstances outside yourself. The truth is, no matter how hard you try, you can't control what others think of you. But here's the good news, you don't need to. The Stoics understood that true confidence and peace come from within, from aligning your actions with your values, not from the fleeting opinions of others. Epictetus put it plainly, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, the moment you stop worrying about how others perceive you, you free yourself to grow and live authentically. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback or become indifferent to relationships. It simply means you stop letting external judgments define your sense of worth. Think about social media, for example. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing your life to the highlight reels of others, measuring your worth by likes, comments, or followers. But the Stoic approach invites you to step back and ask, does this truly reflect who I am? Am I posting this to express myself or to gain approval? By shifting your focus from external validation to internal alignment, you reclaim your power to define your own value. Let's take this a step further. Imagine you're working on a project and you're tempted to alter it to please someone else. The Stoic perspective would encourage you to pause and reflect. Am I making this choice because it aligns with my values or because I'm seeking approval? When you prioritize internal validation, you make decisions that feel authentic and meaningful regardless of how they're received. This practice isn't just about resisting comparison or criticism, it's about building a deeper sense of self-trust. When you stop relying on others to validate your worth, you become more resilient, more independent, and more grounded in who you truly are. Now take a moment to reflect. Where in your life do you find yourself seeking external validation? Is it in your career, your relationships, or even your hobbies? How might you shift your focus inward, aligning your actions with what truly matters to you? By letting go of the need for external approval, you're not just freeing yourself from the opinions of others, you're stepping into a more authentic, empowered version of yourself. And that's where true confidence begins. What if preparing for the worst could actually help you face it with calm? This might sound counterintuitive, but it's the heart of a powerful Stoic practice called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. At its core, this exercise is about mentally rehearsing challenges before they happen, not to dwell on negativity, but to build resilience and reduce fear. By imagining potential difficulties, you're not inviting them into your life, you're preparing yourself to meet them with clarity and strength. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most influential voices, described this practice as a way to soften the blows of fortune. He wrote, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise." In other words, when we anticipate challenges, we strip away the element of shock, making it easier to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Here's how it works in practice. Imagine you're about to have a difficult conversation with a colleague. Instead of avoiding the thought or letting anxiety build, you take a few moments to visualize the worst-case scenario. What if they respond defensively? What if the conversation becomes heated? By mentally preparing for these possibilities, you're not only less likely to be caught off guard, but you're also better equipped to stay calm and focused in the moment. This exercise isn't about pessimism, it's about empowerment. When you've already considered the challenges, you're able to approach them with a sense of readiness rather than dread. Think of it like packing an umbrella before a storm. You're not wishing for rain, but you're prepared if it comes. Let's apply this to a modern example. Say you're nervous about an upcoming presentation. Using Premeditatio Malorum, you might imagine the projector failing, the audience seeming disengaged, or even forgetting your line. By visualizing these scenarios and planning how you'd handle them, you reduce the fear of the unknown and build confidence in your ability to adapt. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one upcoming challenge in your life where this practice could help? Maybe it's a tough decision, a high-pressure event, or even a personal goal that feels daunting. Spend a few moments imagining the worst-case scenario, not to dwell on it, but to prepare for it. What steps could you take to navigate it with calm and clarity? The beauty of Premeditatio Malorum lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require special tools or hours of training, just a willingness to face what scares you, even in your mind. And when you do, you'll find that the challenges ahead feel a little less intimidating because you've already begun to meet them with courage. This is the Stoic art of turning fear into fortitude, one thought at a time. Stoics see adversity not as a curse but as a catalyst for growth. It's a perspective that turns life's toughest moments into opportunities for transformation. Where many of us might instinctively view hardship as something to avoid or resent, Stoicism invites us to see it differently, as a teacher, a sculptor, and even a gift. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once wrote, "The obstacle is the way." In those 4 words, he captured a profound truth. The very things that block our path can become the tools that shape our character and deepen our resilience. Adversity has a way of stripping away the non-essentials, forcing us to confront what truly matters. When life is smooth, it's easy to coast, to take things for granted. But when challenges arise, they demand something of us: courage, patience, adaptability. These are the qualities that adversity helps us cultivate, not through ease but through struggle. Think of it like a blacksmith forging steel. The hammer's blows are harsh, but they're what give the metal its strength. Take Seneca, for example. When he was exiled to Corsica by Emperor Claudius, it could have been the end of his influence and purpose. Instead, Seneca used that time to reflect, write, and deepen his understanding of Stoic philosophy. Far from crushing him, the experience became a crucible for his growth. His letters from exile are filled with wisdom about finding meaning in hardship, reminding us that even the most difficult circumstances can be fertile ground for personal development. So, how can we apply this Stoic mindset to our own lives? Imagine you've lost a job or faced a major setback. It's natural to feel disheartened, but the Stoic approach would encourage you to ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow stronger through it? Maybe it's an opportunity to explore a new career path, to develop skills you've neglected, or to reassess your priorities. By reframing the challenge as a chance for growth, you transform it from something that happens to you into something that happens for you. Now, consider this. What's a past adversity that shaped who you are today? Perhaps it was a difficult relationship, a health scare, or a professional failure. What did you learn from that experience? How did it change you? Reflecting on these questions can help you see adversity not as a burden, but as a teacher, one that equips you with the tools to navigate future challenges with greater wisdom and strength. This is the Stoic view of adversity. It's not an enemy to be feared, but a companion on the journey of life. When we embrace it as such, we unlock a deeper understanding of ourselves and a greater capacity to thrive, no matter what comes our way. How can self-discipline lead to greater freedom in life? At first glance, it might seem contradictory. After all, isn't discipline about restriction and rules? But Stoicism teaches us that true freedom isn't found in doing whatever we want. It's found in mastering our desires and impulses. By exercising self-discipline, we gain control over our thoughts and actions, freeing ourselves from the chaos of unchecked emotions and distractions. As Epictetus wisely said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about it this way: when you give in to every craving or distraction, you're not free, you're a slave to your impulses. But when you choose to resist those urges, you reclaim your power. Self-discipline becomes the bridge between what you want in the moment and what you truly value in the long term. It's not about denying yourself pleasure, it's about aligning your actions with your deeper goals and values. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're working on an important project, but you're tempted to scroll through social media or check your phone every few minutes. Each time you give in, you lose focus and your progress slows. But when you practice self-discipline, when you choose to set your phone aside and stay present, you're not just completing the task, you're building a habit of focus and intentionality. Over time, this habit creates a sense of inner peace and control because you're no longer at the mercy of every passing distraction. This is the essence of Stoic self-discipline. It's not about punishing yourself or living a rigid life. It's about creating the space to live with purpose and clarity. When you master your desires, you stop being pulled in 1,000 different directions and start moving deliberately toward what truly matters. Now consider this: what's one area in your life where you could practice greater self-discipline? Maybe it's resisting the urge to procrastinate, making healthier choices, or setting boundaries with your time. Whatever it is, start small. Choose one thing you can commit to today and notice how it feels to take control of that impulse. Self-discipline isn't just a tool for productivity, it's a path to freedom. By mastering your desires, you unlock the ability to live with intention, focus, and inner peace. And in doing so, you discover that the greatest freedom comes not from doing whatever you want, but from becoming the person you're meant to be. Stoics remind us that time is the one thing we can never get back. Unlike money, possessions, or even opportunities, once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. This is why the Stoics placed such a high value on how we use our time. It's not just a resource, it's the very fabric of our lives. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most profound voices, captured this urgency when he wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." His words are a wake-up call, urging us to examine whether we're truly living or simply drifting through the days. For the Stoics, valuing time wasn't about filling every moment with productivity or achievement. It was about aligning our actions with what truly matters: our values, our relationships, and our growth. They believed that time spent in pursuit of virtue, connection, and self-improvement was never wasted, while time squandered on trivial distractions or empty pursuits was a loss we could never recover. Think about how this applies to modern life. How often do we find ourselves scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, or chasing after things that don't truly fulfill us? These activities might feel harmless in the moment, but over time, they add up to a life that feels shallow or unfulfilled. The Stoic approach invites us to step back and ask, is this how I want to spend my limited time? Am I investing it in what truly enriches my life? Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're faced with a choice. Spend the evening working late to impress your boss or join a friend for a meaningful conversation. The Stoic perspective would encourage you to weigh the options not just in terms of immediate gains, but in terms of long-term value. Which choice aligns more closely with your values? Which will leave you feeling more fulfilled when you look back on your life? This isn't about guilt or perfection, it's about intentionality. It's about recognizing that every choice we make is a vote for the kind of life we want to live. And when we start to see time as our most precious resource, we naturally begin to prioritize what truly matters. So take a moment to reflect. How are you spending your time? Are there areas where you could shift your focus to align more closely with your values? Maybe it's carving out more time for loved ones, dedicating energy to a passion project, or simply being more present in the moments you have. The Stoic approach to time isn't about rigid schedules or endless to-do lists. It's about living with purpose, making each moment count, and ensuring that when you look back, you can say with confidence that you used your time well. After all, time is the one gift we all share. How we choose to spend it is what defines the story of our lives. What if gratitude could transform your perspective on life? It's a simple question, but one that holds profound power. The Stoics understood this deeply. They saw gratitude not as a fleeting emotion or a polite gesture, but as a mindset, a way of seeing the world that shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already have. In a philosophy often associated with resilience and discipline, gratitude might seem like an unexpected theme, but for the Stoics it was a cornerstone of inner peace and contentment. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's most celebrated thinkers, wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words remind us that gratitude isn't about ignoring life's challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the gifts that are already present, even in the midst of difficulty. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we cultivate a sense of abundance that can sustain us through even the toughest times. So, how does this work in practice? Let's say you're going through a tough period. Maybe you're dealing with a health issue, a financial setback, or a strained relationship. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by what's going wrong. But the Stoic approach encourages you to pause and ask, what's still going right? What are the small blessings I might be overlooking? Perhaps it's the support of a friend, the comfort of a warm meal, or even the simple fact that you have the strength to face the challenge at all. By shifting your focus to these moments of gratitude, you create a mental space where resilience can grow. This isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's a practical tool for building emotional strength. When you train your mind to look for the good, even in difficult circumstances, you're less likely to be consumed by negativity or despair. Gratitude becomes a kind of emotional anchor, grounding you in the present and reminding you of what truly matters. Now take a moment to reflect. What are 3 things you're grateful for today? They don't have to be grand or life-changing. Sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest impact. Maybe it's the sound of birds outside your window, a kind word from a colleague, or the warmth of the sun on your skin. By naming these moments, you're not just practicing gratitude, you're cultivating a habit of noticing and appreciating the richness of your life, one small detail at a time. This is the Stoic art of gratitude, a practice that doesn't deny the challenges of life but enriches your ability to navigate them. When you learn to see the world through a lens of appreciation, you'll find that even the hardest moments carry a seed of meaning, and that's where true resilience begins. Stoics believe that remembering death can inspire us to live with purpose. At first, this might sound unsettling. Why would anyone want to think about something so final? But the Stoic practice of Memento Mori, Latin for remember you must die, isn't about dwelling on fear or despair. Instead, it's a powerful tool for clarifying what truly matters and motivating us to live more intentionally. When we confront the reality of our mortality, we're reminded that time is finite and every moment is a gift we shouldn't take for granted. This practice isn't morbid, it's transformative. By reflecting on the inevitability of death, we strip away the distractions and trivialities that can clutter our lives. It's like holding up a mirror to our priorities, asking us, am I spending my time in ways that align with my values? Am I living the life I want to look back on with pride? Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, put it this way: you act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire. His words remind us that we often live as if we have endless time, when in reality our days are numbered. So, how does this ancient practice apply to modern life? Imagine you're feeling stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill you, or you're putting off a dream because it feels too risky. Now consider this: if you knew your time was limited, would you keep waiting? Would you stay in a situation that doesn't align with your deepest values? Memento Mori invites us to use the awareness of our mortality as a catalyst for action. It's not about living recklessly, but about living with clarity and courage, making choices that reflect what truly matters to us. Here's a practical way to bring this into your daily life. Take a moment each day to pause and ask yourself, if this were my last day, would I be proud of how I've spent it? This doesn't mean you need to achieve something monumental every single day. It's about aligning your actions with your values, whether that's spending time with loved ones, pursuing a passion, or simply being present in the moment. Now take a moment to reflect. How would your life change if you remembered your mortality every day? Would you approach your relationships differently? Would you take more risks or let go of things that no longer serve you? By embracing the practice of Memento Mori, you're not just thinking about death, you're choosing to live with greater intention, purpose, and gratitude for the time you have. This is the power of Stoic reflection. It's not about fear or pessimism. It's about using the reality of our finite lives as a compass, guiding us toward what truly matters. And when we do, we find that life becomes not only more meaningful but also more vibrant, because we're fully awake to its preciousness. What if reducing your desires could actually increase your happiness? It might sound counterintuitive, but this is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that many of our struggles come not from the world around us, but from our endless cravings for more possessions, more status, more approval. These desires, when left unchecked, can become a source of endless dissatisfaction, pulling us away from the inner peace we truly seek. As Epictetus wisely cautioned, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. At its core, the Stoic view of desire is about recognizing the difference between what we need and what we want. Needs are simple and manageable: food, shelter, connection. Wants, on the other hand, are often infinite and insatiable. The more we chase them, the more they elude us, leaving us feeling empty and restless. The Stoics taught that by focusing on what's essential and letting go of the rest, we free ourselves from the cycle of craving and find contentment in the present moment. So, how does this play out in real life? Imagine you're scrolling through social media, bombarded by images of perfect homes, vacations, and lifestyles. It's easy to feel a pang of envy or a desire to keep up, but the Stoic approach invites you to pause and ask, does this align with what truly matters to me? Am I chasing this because it's meaningful or because it's what others expect? By questioning your desires, you gain clarity about what brings you genuine fulfillment and what doesn't. Let's take a practical example. Say you've been eyeing a new car, not because your current one no longer works, but because you're drawn to the status it represents. The Stoic perspective would encourage you to examine this desire. What's driving it? Is it a need for validation, a fear of missing out, or something else entirely? By understanding the root of your desire, you can decide whether it's worth pursuing or whether letting it go might bring you greater peace. This isn't about denying yourself joy or living a life of deprivation. It's about choosing where to invest your energy and attention. When you stop chasing every desire that crosses your mind, you create space to appreciate what you already have. You'll begin to see that true happiness doesn't come from external things, but from the simplicity of being present and content. Now take a moment to reflect. What's one desire you've been holding onto that might be weighing you down? Is it a longing for more money, more recognition, or more possessions? How might your life feel lighter if you let it go? By practicing this Stoic principle, you're not just simplifying your life, you're reclaiming your peace of mind and rediscovering the freedom that comes with fewer wants. This is the transformative power of managing desire. It's not about giving up on ambition or living without goals. It's about aligning your desires with your values so you can live with clarity, purpose, and a deep sense of contentment. And when you do, you'll find that happiness isn't something you need to chase, it's something you already have. Stoics see anger as a temporary loss of reason, a moment when emotion overpowers judgment, clouding our ability to think clearly and act wisely. It's not that they believed anger was inherently evil. Rather, they saw it as a sign that we've lost touch with our rational selves. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most insightful voices, described anger as a kind of madness, warning that it does more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. In other words, anger doesn't just hurt others, it corrodes us from within, leaving us weaker and less in control. But here's the empowering truth: Stoicism doesn't just critique anger, it offers a roadmap for managing it. At its core, this approach is about understanding the roots of anger, what triggers it, why it arises, and how we can respond with reason instead of reacting with emotion. Anger, the Stoics believed, often stems from unmet expectations or a sense of injustice. When things don't go as we'd hoped, or when someone acts in a way we find unfair, anger flares as a natural but misguided attempt to regain control. Consider a modern example. You're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. The driver in front of you cuts you off, and suddenly your frustration boils over. In that moment, anger feels justified, even necessary. But the Stoic perspective invites you to pause and ask, is this anger serving me? Is it helping me reach my destination faster? Or is it only adding stress to an already difficult situation? By stepping back and examining the situation rationally, you can choose a more constructive response, perhaps taking a deep breath, refocusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest. This isn't about suppressing anger or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that anger, like all emotions, is a signal, one that can guide us toward understanding ourselves better if we learn to listen. When we approach anger with curiosity rather than judgment, we open the door to growth. We begin to see that the real power lies not in the heat of the moment, but in the calm that follows, the space where reason can take the lead. So take a moment to reflect. Can you recall a recent situation where anger got the better of you? What triggered it? How might you respond differently if you approached it with reason instead of emotion? By practicing this Stoic approach, you're not just managing anger, you're reclaiming your ability to think clearly, act wisely, and live with greater peace. This is the Stoic path to mastering anger, not by fighting it, but by understanding it. When we learn to see anger as a teacher rather than an enemy, we transform it from a source of chaos into a tool for self-awareness and growth. And in doing so, we find that the greatest battles are often the ones we win within ourselves. What if you could embrace every twist of fate, not just with acceptance, but with love? This is the heart of the Stoic practice known as amor fati, a Latin phrase that means love of fate. It's a mindset that encourages us to see every event, whether joyful or painful, as an essential part of our journey. Instead of resisting what life throws at us, amor fati invites us to welcome it, to find meaning in it, and even to cherish it. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." In other words, when we embrace life's challenges, we transform them into fuel for our growth. At its core, amor fati is about shifting from a mindset of resistance to one of acceptance, not passive resignation, but active engagement with life as it unfolds. It's the understanding that every experience, no matter how difficult, has something to teach us. When we stop fighting against what we can't change and start seeing it as an opportunity, we unlock a profound sense of resilience and peace. Let's take a moment to bring this idea to life. Imagine you've just lost a job you loved. It's a crushing blow, and it's natural to feel anger, sadness, or even despair. But the practice of amor fati invites you to pause and ask, what can I learn from this? How might this setback open new doors I hadn't considered? Perhaps it's a chance to explore a different career path, to reconnect with what truly matters to you, or to develop skills you've been neglecting. By reframing the loss as an opportunity, you don't just endure it, you grow through it. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring the pain of difficult experiences. It's about choosing to see the bigger picture, to trust that even the hardest moments have a role to play in shaping who you are. The Stoics believed that life's challenges are not obstacles to our happiness, but the very means by which we build strength, wisdom, and character. Now take a moment to reflect. What's one challenge in your life that you've struggled to accept? How might viewing it through the lens of amor fati change your perspective? Could you see it not as a burden but as a gift, a chance to grow, to learn, and to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you? The practice of amor fati doesn't erase life's difficulties, but it does change how we relate to them. When we stop resisting and start embracing, we find that even the hardest moments carry a seed of meaning. And in that shift, we discover a profound truth, that the key to resilience isn't just enduring life's challenges, it's loving them for the lessons they bring. Stoics remind us that true wealth lies within, not in possessions. In a world that often equates success with the accumulation of things, this ancient philosophy offers a refreshing perspective. Happiness and fulfillment come not from what we own, but from who we are. The Stoics believed that material possessions are fleeting. They can be gained, lost, or destroyed, but the riches of character, wisdom, and virtue are enduring. As Epictetus put it, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This simple yet profound idea challenges us to rethink our relationship with the things we own and the value we place on them. At its core, the Stoic view of material wealth is about detachment, not in the sense of rejecting all possessions, but in recognizing that they don't define us. When we tie our self-worth to external things, we set ourselves up for disappointment because those things are ultimately beyond our control. A house can burn down, a car can break, and even the most prized possessions can lose their luster over time. But inner wealth, our ability to think clearly, act with integrity, and find joy in the present moment, is something no one can take away. This isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a practical tool for living a more contented life. Consider the modern trend of decluttering. Many people find that by letting go of excess belongings, they create space not just in their homes but in their minds. When we stop chasing the next big purchase and start focusing on what truly matters, relationships, experiences, personal growth, we often discover a deeper sense of fulfillment. It's not about living with nothing, it's about living with intention, choosing to surround ourselves only with what adds value to our lives. So, what does this look like in practice? Imagine you're tempted to buy the latest gadget, not because you need it, but because everyone else seems to have it. The Stoic approach would encourage you to pause and ask, will this truly make me happier, or am I simply feeding a temporary desire? By questioning the impulse, you create space to reflect on what you already have and whether this new possession aligns with your values. Now take a moment to consider, what do you truly value beyond material possessions? Is it time with loved ones, the pursuit of a passion, or the peace that comes from living authentically? By shifting your focus inward, you begin to see that the most valuable things in life aren't things at all, they're the qualities and experiences that bring meaning and joy. This is the Stoic invitation to measure your wealth not by what you own, but by the richness of your inner life. When you do, you'll find that contentment isn't something you need to chase, it's something you already carry within you. How can Stoicism help us navigate the complexities of relationships? It's a question worth asking, because no matter how much we try to control others, the truth is we can't. People will act as they choose, and their behavior is ultimately beyond our control. But here's the Stoic twist: while we can't control others, we can control how we show up in our relationships. This shift in focus, from trying to change others to improving our own actions, is at the heart of the Stoic approach to building harmony with those around us. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's most revered voices, put it this way: when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. His words remind us that while others may act in ways we don't understand or agree with, our responsibility is to respond with kindness, patience, and integrity. Let's break this down with a practical example. Imagine you're in a heated argument with a partner or colleague. Emotions are high, and it feels like the other person is being unreasonable. In that moment, it's tempting to react defensively or lash out. But the Stoic approach invites you to pause and ask, what's within my control here? Can I change their behavior or attitude? Probably not, but can I choose how I respond? Absolutely. By focusing on your own actions, speaking calmly, listening actively, and maintaining respect, you shift the dynamic of the conflict. Even if the other person doesn't change, you've taken the high road, and that's where true power lies. This isn't about being a pushover or ignoring your own needs. It's about recognizing that the only person you can truly change is yourself. When you focus on behaving with virtue, whether that's kindness, patience, or fairness, you create an environment where healthier relationships can flourish. And over time, this approach often has a ripple effect, inspiring others to reflect on their own behavior. So take a moment to reflect. How do you typically respond when someone disappoints or frustrates you? Do you try to change them, or do you focus on how you can act with integrity? By shifting your attention to your own actions, you not only improve your relationships but also cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace. This is the Stoic way of navigating relationships, not by controlling others but by mastering yourself. When you approach every interaction with this mindset, you'll find that even the most challenging relationships become opportunities for growth, connection, and understanding. And in the end, isn't that what we all want? Stoics have long used journaling as a way to clarify their thoughts and values. It's more than just putting pen to paper. It's a deliberate practice of self-examination, a tool for untangling the complexities of our minds and aligning our actions with our deepest principles. For the Stoics, journaling wasn't about recording every detail of the day. It was about distilling wisdom from experience, learning from mistakes, and reinforcing the virtues they aspired to live by. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, emphasized the importance of this practice when he wrote, "Each day, acquire something that will fortify you against poverty, against death, indeed against other misfortunes as well." His words remind us that journaling isn't just a habit. It's a way of building resilience, clarity, and inner strength. By reflecting on our thoughts and actions, we gain insight into what truly matters, making it easier to navigate life's challenges with intention and grace. So, how does journaling help us live more stoically? Think of it as a mirror for the mind. When we write down our thoughts, we're forced to slow down and examine them more closely. This process helps us identify patterns, perhaps a tendency to react impulsively, or a habit of dwelling on things we can't control. By bringing these patterns to light, we create the opportunity to change them, aligning our behavior with Stoic principles like wisdom, courage, and temperance. Let's bring this into a modern context. Imagine you've had a stressful day at work, meetings ran late, deadlines loomed, and tensions were high. Instead of carrying that stress into the evening, you take a few minutes to journal. You write about what happened, how you felt, and how you responded. Did you react with patience, or did frustration get the better of you? By reflecting on these questions, you're not just venting, you're learning. You're turning a chaotic day into a lesson, one that helps you grow stronger and more self-aware. Now consider this: what would it look like to start your own journaling practice? It doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. Even a few minutes each evening can make a difference. Begin by asking yourself simple questions. What went well today? What challenged me? How did I respond? And how might I do better tomorrow? Over time, these small reflections add up, helping you cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and your values. Journaling is more than just a habit, it's a pathway to self-mastery. When we take the time to examine our thoughts and actions, we create a space for growth, clarity, and resilience. And in that space, we discover something profound: the power to shape not just our days, but our lives. So why not give it a try? Grab a notebook, find a quiet moment, and see where the practice takes you. What if success wasn't about wealth or fame, but about character? This is the Stoic perspective on success, a radical shift from the way many of us are taught to measure achievement. While society often equates success with external markers like money, status, or accolades, Stoicism invites us to look inward. True success, according to the Stoics, isn't about what you have or even what you accomplish. It's about how you live, the virtues you embody, and the integrity you bring to every moment of your life. At its core, Stoicism teaches that success is rooted in virtue, living with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These qualities, the Stoics believed, are the true measures of a well-lived life. As Epictetus put it, no great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. In other words, success isn't an overnight achievement. It's the gradual result of consistent, virtuous action. This isn't just a philosophical idea. It's a practical framework for living. Imagine you're at a crossroads in your career. You're offered a promotion that comes with a significant pay raise, but it would require compromising your values, perhaps by cutting corners or treating others unfairly. The Stoic approach would encourage you to pause and ask, does this align with the person I want to be? Will this decision bring me closer to true success, or will it erode my sense of integrity? By choosing virtue over external rewards, you're not just making a moral decision, you're investing in a deeper, more enduring kind of fulfillment. Let's take this a step further. Think about a time when you achieved something impressive. Maybe it was a professional milestone or a personal goal. How did it feel in the moment? Now, consider how it felt weeks or months later. Often, the initial rush of accomplishment fades, leaving us searching for the next thing to chase. But when we align our actions with virtue, the satisfaction is different. It's not fleeting, it's lasting. It's the quiet pride of knowing you acted with integrity, even when no one was watching. So here's a question to reflect on. How do you define success in your own life? Is it tied to external achievements, or does it center on who you are and how you live? By embracing the Stoic view of success, you're not just redefining what it means to win, you're discovering a path to a life that's rich in meaning, purpose, and peace. This is the Stoic invitation to measure your success not by the world's standards, but by the depth of your character. When you do, you'll find that the truest victories aren't the ones that earn applause, but the ones that strengthen your soul. Stoics believe that fear loses its power when we examine it closely. Instead of being an overwhelming force that paralyzes us, fear becomes a challenge to understand, a puzzle to solve. By breaking it down and looking at it rationally, we strip away its mystery and reclaim our ability to act with clarity and courage. This is the Stoic approach to fear, not avoiding it, but facing it head-on, understanding its roots and choosing how to respond. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most insightful voices, wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." His words remind us that fear often grows in the shadows of our minds, fed by assumptions and worst-case scenarios. But when we bring it into the light, when we question its validity and test its logic, we often find that it's not as formidable as it seemed. The key is to move from reaction to reflection, from panic to perspective. Let's take a practical example, the fear of public speaking. For many, the thought of standing in front of an audience triggers anxiety, a racing heart, sweaty palms, even a sense of dread. But what if, instead of letting those feelings take over, you paused and asked, what's the worst that could happen? Could I survive that? Often, the answers reveal that the fear is disproportionate to the actual risk. By rationalizing the fear, you reduce its power and create space to focus on preparation and presence. This isn't about dismissing fear as irrational or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about understanding it, where it comes from, why it arises, and how it affects us. When we approach fear with curiosity rather than avoidance, we transform it from an enemy into a teacher. It becomes a signal pointing us toward areas where we can grow, prepare, or simply let go of unrealistic expectations. So take a moment to reflect. What's one fear that's been holding you back? Is it a fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown? How might you begin to examine it with a Stoic lens, breaking it down, questioning its validity, and deciding how to move forward? This is the Stoic invitation to meet fear not with resistance but with understanding. When we learn to see fear as a challenge rather than a threat, we unlock a profound truth. That courage isn't the absence of fear, but the choice to act in spite of it. And in that choice, we find a deeper sense of freedom and strength. As we wrap up this exploration of Stoic principles, let's take a moment to revisit the key themes that can transform the way we approach life's challenges. At the heart of Stoicism is the practice of focusing on what's within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. By directing our energy toward these areas, we free ourselves from the frustration of trying to change what we can't. This isn't about ignoring life's difficulties. It's about meeting them with resilience and clarity, knowing that our power lies in how we choose to show up. Resilience, too, is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's not about avoiding hardship, but about seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Every challenge, every setback carries the potential to teach us something valuable if we're willing to look for the lesson. When we embrace adversity as a teacher, we build the inner strength to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and purpose. And then there's the idea of living virtuously, aligning our actions with timeless principles like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. True success, in the Stoic view, isn't measured by external achievements but by the integrity of our character. When we live with virtue as our guide, we cultivate a sense of fulfillment that no external circumstance can shake. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These words remind us that the ultimate source of empowerment lies within. No matter what life throws our way, we have the ability to choose how we respond, to find meaning in the struggle, and to live with intention and purpose. Now it's your turn. How can you apply these Stoic principles in your own life? What's one area where you could shift your focus from what you can't control to what you can? How might embracing resilience and virtue help you navigate your challenges with greater clarity and calm? The beauty of Stoicism is that it's not just a philosophy, it's a practical toolkit for living well, and it's available to anyone willing to put it into practice. If this conversation has resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share in the comments how you're applying Stoic principles or what challenges you're facing. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing for more insights on living with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Together, let's continue this journey toward a more grounded and empowered way of being. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, remember, the power to live well is always within you.